Welcome to Team Tips Analysis of Turkey. Location, location, location. And when it comes to doing business, it's all about location, and Turkey is one of the best situated countries in the world. Located between southeastern Europe, adjacent to Bulgaria and Greece, and southwestern Asia, just above a very hostile Syria and south of Jordan, Turkey is the gateway between two economic and culturally diverse regions of the world. Not just a landmass that spans two continents. Turkey is surrounded to the north by the Black Sea, to the south by the Mediterranean, and to the west by the Aegean Sea. Geographically speaking, Turkey is slightly larger than the state of Texas, and it borders 8 different countries. Turkey, originally the center of the Ottoman Turk Empire, spanned the known globe between 1299 and 1923. During the high point of the Ottoman Empire, the Turkish span of influence covered southern Europe, western Asia, the Caucasus, North Africa, and the Horn of Africa. Modern Turkey was founded in 1923 from the remnants of the defeated Ottoman Empire by Mustafa Kemal. Kemal, also known as the father of the Turks, was Turkey's first president and fostered an era of social, legal, and political reform in the country. Initially a single-party country, Turkey underwent a period of political transition in 1945 that led to a series of political parties vying for power. Over the years, Turkey experienced a series of military coups in 1960, 1971, and 1980, but the majority of their history within the modern era has been peaceful. In 1945, Turkey joined the UN, and in 1952, following their support for the Korean War, joined NATO to help stem the tide of growing Soviet aggression in their region. In 2005, Turkey began the process of joining the European Union, and several economic reforms during the past decade has made Turkey one of the fastest growing economies in the world, now ranking it the 18th largest GDP in the world. Demographically speaking, Turkey is 70 to 75% ethnically Turkish, and 18% Kurdish, and 7 to 12% of other minorities. Now, of that population, 99.8% of Turks are Muslim, with a very small 0.02% Christian and Jewish faith. Turkey has a population of 79.4 million people, with one of the most populated cities in the world, Istanbul, formerly known as Constantinople, with over 14 million people. Over 73% of the population reside within a city or an urbanized area, creating a large, diverse workforce with a median education level of 15 years for men and 14 years for women. The median age within the country is 29 years old, with a small elderly population of 55 or older at roughly 15%. Immigration to Turkey is incredibly low, at just 2.2 immigrants per 1,000 individuals, and Turkey ranks 66th in the world for unemployment for ages between 18 and 24 at 17.5%. Whether doing business in a formal or informal setting, meetings for Turkish businessmen are highly important, and it's always a good idea to set an appointment and arrive on time. Now, Turks themselves are not very punctual, but as a foreigner, you're expected to arrive on time every time. Because Turkish society is highly influenced by Islam, organize appointments and meetings around each of the 5 daily prayers as a sign of respect, and avoid making any appointments during Ramadan or most times in July or August. Now, during meetings themselves, anticipate the first half of your meeting to be about small talk in nature and not even business related. Turkish businessmen like to become familiar and earn the trust of those that they're about to work with. It's rude to just jump into a conversation right off the bat and talk business. In most cases, a decision or outcome can't be reached within the first meeting, and multiple meetings will need to be scheduled. And understand that during the negotiation process in Turkey is slow. Turks don't like to be rushed into a decision, and forcing an issue will almost always end negatively for your business transaction. Long-term relationships need to be built to facilitate long, healthy business relationships. Like mentioned earlier, Turks only do business with those they trust and respect, and in many cases, a third-party introduction is necessary. While entertaining, the host will always pay the bill. Never offer to pay. It's rude. And the Turks love their coffees and teas, so ensure you have one as a sign of respect. To say that modern-day countries and businesses, including our own, aren't involved in some form of corruption would be a bold-faced lie. As recent as 2013, the Turkish government conducted a raid by the Financial Crimes Unit in Istanbul, where 32 suspects were arrested at the police headquarters in the city. Among the subjects included the sons of 3 government ministers, a mayor, an Iranian gold trader, a real estate billionaire, and the head of the largest state-run bank in Turkey. Prosecutors allege that the arrest was part of a corruption network that included the current president Recep Erdogan. Moving forward, it's important to remember that corruption is nothing new, and as a businessman conducting business in a foreign land, remember that customs and norms differ. Don't be surprised if you encounter some form of government corruption or financial kickback. As mentioned earlier, Turkey became an independent country in 1923 after the Turkish War of Independence between 1919 and 1922. Their first president, Mustafa Kemal, instituted a secular, democratic government that was governed by one main political party until the 1950s. Currently, Turkey is governed by a republican parliamentary democracy with three branches of government: the executive branch, the legislative, and the judicial branch. But unlike the United States, Turkey has a president who is a largely ceremonial head. Currently, Turkey's president, Recep Erdogan, is pictured to the above left. Interesting of note, he's also the former prime minister. Pictured to the bottom right is Turkey's acting prime minister, Ahmet Davutoglu. The prime minister, along with the council of ministers, retains all the executive power within the government. Turkey's legal system is largely based out of Switzerland's civil law system. And although predominantly Sunni Muslim and adhering to many religious and cultural norms that accompany the Islamic faith, Turkey's government more closely resembles a European environment than a Middle Eastern one. Today, Turkey is home to over 15 different political parties that span 81 provinces within the country. And Turkey's capital is located in the city of Ankara, Turkey's second largest city, which is centrally located within the country. As can be observed from the map, Turkey's largest political party is AKP, also known as the Justice and Development Party, headed by the current Prime Minister. The small fact is incredibly important when conducting business in various regions of the country. Knowing which political party dominates the area could allow corporate entities to understand the motives and tastes of the people within that region.
Thank you, Justin. We will now discuss the dimensions of national culture for Turkey using the Geert Hofstede model. This model of national culture consists of 6 dimensions, which are power distance, individualism, masculinity, uncertainty avoidance, long-term orientation, and indulgence. The first dimension, power distance, deals with the fact that all individuals in societies are not equal and is defined as the extent to which the less powerful members of institutions and organizations within a country expect and accept that power is distributed unequally. Turkey received a score of 66 for this dimension, which means that the following characterizes the Turkish style: dependent, hierarchical, where superiors are often inaccessible and the ideal boss is a father figure. Additionally, power is centralized and managers rely on their bosses and on rules for guidance. Control is expected and attitude towards managers is formal, while communications are indirect and the information flow is selective. The next cultural dimension is individualism, which is defined as the degree of interdependence a society maintains among its members. It deals with whether people's self-image is defined in terms of I or we. Turkey, with a score of 37, is a collectivistic society. This means that the we is important, where people belong to in-groups such as families, clans, or organizations who look after each other in exchange for loyalty. Communication is indirect and the harmony of the group has to be maintained and open conflicts are avoided. The relationship has a moral base and this always has priority over task fulfillment. Time must be invested initially to establish a relationship of trust. However, nepotism is common. Feedback is always indirect, particularly in the business environment. Next, we will look at the dimension of masculinity. Masculinity is an indicator of what it is that motivates people, wanting to be the best or masculine, or liking what you do, feminine. Turkey scores 45 and is on the feminine side of the scale. This means that the softer aspects of culture, such as leveling with others, consensus, and sympathy for the underdog, are valued and encouraged. Conflicts are avoided in private and work life, and consensus at the end is important. Leisure time is important for the Turks, as it is the time when the whole family, clan, and friends come together to enjoy life. The next dimension, uncertainty avoidance, identifies the extent to which the members of a culture feel threatened by ambiguous or unknown situations and have created beliefs and institutions that try to avoid these situations. Turkey scores 85 on this dimension, and thus there is a huge need for laws and rules. In order to minimize anxiety, people make use of a lot of rituals. For foreigners, Turks might seem religious, with the many references to Allah, but often they are just traditional social patterns used in specific situations to ease tension. The next dimension, long-term orientation, describes how every society has to maintain some links with its own past while dealing with the challenges of the present and the future, and how societies prioritize these two existential goals differently. Turkey's intermediate score of 56 is in the middle of the scale, so no dominant cultural preference can be inferred. Finally, the last dimension, indulgence, is defined as the extent to which people try to control their desires and impulses based on the way they were raised. With an intermediate score of 49, a characteristic corresponding to this dimension cannot be determined for Turkey. Next, we will discuss the Market Potential Index for Turkey as compiled by the Michigan State University International Business Center. The purpose of the study is to rank, with a U.S. focus, the market potential of 87 identified countries and to provide guidance to U.S. companies that plan to expand their markets internationally. During 2014, Turkey was ranked 36th overall, with China, Hong Kong, Japan, Canada, and Singapore occupying the top 5 spots. The index is composed of 8 dimensions: market size, market intensity, market growth rate, market consumption capacity, commercial infrastructure, market receptivity, economic freedom, and country risk. The Turkish market size, which is measured by energy consumption and urban population, scored only a 6 due to the country's small urban population. Although the score for this dimension is low, Turkey was ranked 14th out of all the countries included in the study. Turkey's market growth rate, measured by real GDP growth rate and the growth rate of energy usage, comes in at 64, which is the 40th ranked growth rate. Turkey's market intensity, measured by private consumption as a percent of GDP and gross national income per capita, was rated 68, the 23rd highest ranking of all countries included in the study. Turkey's market consumption capacity, measured by middle-class income share and consumer expenditures, was rated 47, good enough for the 25th highest in the study. For this metric, the middle class's income is used as a measure, as this is where most consumer goods marketing efforts are targeted. Turkey's commercial infrastructure, measured by cellular subscribers, households with internet, personal computers and telephone lines, paved road density, population per retail outlet, and percentage of households with color TV, was rated 52, which is only good enough to be ranked 52nd out of 87 countries in the study. Turkey's economic freedom, based on the political and economic freedom indexes, was rated 49 and was ranked 48th highest, where economic freedom is primarily a measure of governmental policies which can restrict business activities for a country. Turkey's market receptivity, measured by per capita imports from the U.S. and trade as a percentage of GDP, was rated only 9 and was ranked 69th. This measure indicates Turkey's economy is not very receptive to imported products from the United States. Turkey's market risk, a measure of the business country and political risk ratings, was rated 53, which was good enough for the 54th ranking. This indicates that in order for a company to invest in Turkey, the company would be exposing itself to a relatively large amount of risk. Turkey received its lowest ranking on the MPI in 2014 when it was ranked 36th overall. The highest the country was ever ranked on the index was 8th overall in 2013. However, this was when the index consisted of only 26 countries. In 2014, the index expanded to 87 countries. I will now turn it over to Kate, who will speak about Turkey's foreign direct investment.
Turkey's foreign direct investment, or FDI, has seen a steady influx of funds over the years when other countries are seeing less and less FDI coming their way. Countries see opportunity in Turkey because of their new intellectual property laws, sustainable growth, economic stability, and improved laws for the country in general. Many of these laws protect investors. One of them allows investors to invest in any field of business free from any restrictions. In fact, Turkey has been rated as the 15th most promising investment for 2014 to 2016 by the UNCTAD 2014 World Investment Report. It is clear that Turkey has gained a lot of attention from foreign investors. As the country continues to develop, they rely heavily on more developed countries for FDI investments. When these countries hit hard economic times, it can have a detrimental effect to Turkey. When the United States had a hard time economically in 2013, they drastically pulled back FDI funds from Turkey. Because of this, Turkey's FDI was decreased by 35% in the first half of 2013. In 2012, the United States offered Turkey $6 billion in FDI funds for manufacturing and wholesale trade. In comparison, Turkey contributed $655 million to the United States in the same year. Manufacturing receives the largest portion of FDI funds in Turkey. Their booming construction sector is also able to benefit from this. In 2012, Turkey's construction sector quadrupled to $1.3 billion in 2012 compared to the previous year. In 2014, Turkey's biggest contributor to FDI inflows was the Netherlands, followed by the United Kingdom. If one compares Turkey against other regions of the world, like Eastern Europe and Central Asia, the United States, and Germany, it is evident that they are still growing. Turkey does not index very high in many categories that investors are concerned with, but transaction transparency rated so high is an attractive feature for investors, as are the new laws in place to protect investors. In Turkey's current state, they are not able to contribute large amounts of FDI to other countries. Their current FDI outflow is used to invest in and build relationships with other countries across the world. As Turkey develops, they are slowly able to increase their FDI outflows to other regions.
Thank you, Kate. Turkey is a member of the World Trade Organization, the intergovernmental organization which regulates international trade. Turkey's number one import and export partner is the European Union, or EU, which it has been a candidate to join since 1999. In 1995, Turkey and the EU signed the Customs Union Agreement establishing the terms of trade between the two entities. While the EU ranks first as Turkey's import and export partner, Turkey ranks 7th and 5th in the EU's top import and export markets. In 2014, Turkey shipped $157.7 billion worth of goods around the globe, up by 38.4% since 2010. Turkey's chief export markets are the EU, Iraq, Russia, the US, United Arab Emirates, and Iran. Its primary exports are vehicles, machinery to include engine and pump equipment, knit or crochet clothing, electronics, and iron and steel. Turkey's fastest growing exports are other manufacturing items, train equipment, and food waste and animal fodder. When it comes to imports last year, Turkey bought $242.2 billion worth of imported products, which is up 30.6% since 2010. Turkey's main import markets include the EU, Russia, China, US, Iran, and South Korea. Key imports from these countries include oil, machinery such as engine and pump equipment, electronics, iron and steel, and vehicles. The fastest growing imports landing in Turkey are gems, collector items such as art and antiques, and sugar. Last year, Turkey's exports to the U.S. amounted to $6.3 billion, or 4% of its overall exports. As you can see, the top 10 exports to the U.S. were led by iron and steel, machines, engines, and pumps, and vehicles. Turkey's imports from the U.S. amounted to $12.7 billion, or 5.3% of its overall imports. The top 10 American imports were led by iron and steel, aircraft and spacecraft, and machines, engines, and pumps. Now Stacy will discuss the advantages and disadvantages of doing business in Turkey.
Thank you, Bob. We will now discuss the assessment from a foreign investor's viewpoint of Turkey's current market conditions by defining the advantages and disadvantages of investing in Turkey. The advantages include Turkey's market intensity is rated relatively high due to private consumption as a percent of GDP, as well as gross national income per capita. Turkey's market consumption capacity was rated relatively high due to middle-class income share, as well as customer expenditures. Turkey's direct foreign investment has seen growth and opportunity due to Turkey's new intellectual property laws, sustainable growth, economic stability, and improved laws within the country. And lastly, Turkey has one of the best locations in the world to carry out business. Turkey is said to be the gateway between two economically and culturally diverse regions in the world. However, the disadvantages include that Turkey has a low market size due to its urban population and energy consumption. It also has a moderate growth rate due to its growth rate of energy usage and real GDP growth rate. And Turkey's commercial infrastructure was rated relatively low in regards to number of cellular subscribers, households with internet, personal computers and telephone lines, paved road density, population per retail outlet, and percentage of households with color TV. Their economic freedom was rated relatively low due to government policies which create restrictions for business activities. And Turkey's market receptivity, created by per capita imports from the U.S. and trade as a percentage of GDP, was rated low. Turkey's market risk, which is a measure of business and of political risk ratings, was rated relatively poor, indicating that there's an excessive amount of risk. In conclusion, Team HIPS would like to thank you for your time and look forward to any and all questions you have about the subject of Turkey. Thank you.